Roseanne did pop in for a second, but I don't know if she's coming back.
I know, I saw that too. And I just hit record, so that's going to be the first thing people hear.
Yay!
um, hey, everybody who's watching on replay, and hey, everybody who's here live right now. Joanne is here, patiently listening, and we had Roseanne pop in and not sure if she had internet connectivity issues or she just wanted to see if we were really here. But whether you're here with us live or on replay, I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited to have this conversation, frankly, between Rachel and I, and also I love Q&As. I love Q&As because it always opens up some sort of like an insight or an epiphany for me. So if you don't know, I am Carrie Roldan. I am known as all sorts of things across the internet space, but mostly I see myself as your business BFF girlfriend. I am here to serve you and help you evolve more fully into the human that you are meant to be and help you live fully in your purpose and in your business. And Rachel, I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself. So Rachel Archelaus is, I said I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and then I'm going to say, one of my intuitive super friends, a business BFF, someone who I have loved and adored since I met her, I don't know how many, 3 years ago maybe. And just like super gifted psychic, amazing multidimensional being. Rachel, you go ahead and take it away.
Sure. So I'm so glad to be here talking with Carrie and everybody else about purpose so for a little backstory on me and why I love this topic so much, I grew up openly psychic. So I was seeing my spirit guides and my relatives after they died like my whole life. So that's all normal for me. It's not normal for me to have to be worried about dying or to kind of have normal anxieties about is this all there is? I've never had that before. And so when it comes to purpose, I have kind of a different take on it. And it's actually a much more relaxed take. And it is so much more empowering for you because I don't think that there's anything outside of you that is trying to dictate your purpose that you have to find. You don't have to find anything. You actually just really have to, if you want to take on my view, really just connect with your own inner technology. So empower that part of you that you probably dismiss as being, annoying, or you wonder if your intuition is really your intuition, if it's just your head. So once you get that part straightened out, once you kind of find that intuition within you, then you will always know when you're on your purpose, when you're on the right track, so to speak, because it is just always there. You are everything. You are the universe. And so that's kind of what gets me all hepped up about this. And I think I'm much more down to earth than you may imagine as a person showing up at a psychic with a green wig on. So I'm just really excited to talk about this. And let's get started. Hey, Roseanne. Hey, Joanne. Hey, everyone else who's watching the replay.
Yeah, so I think I'll start it off if you guys don't mind, and then we can, if you've got questions about your purpose, feel free. But I was telling Rachel the other day we connected, and I was telling her how the first time that I had a conversation with her, I was really scared. And actually, when I first met her, I had her as a guest on my Carrie Roldan show, and the topic of the show was, what's my freaking purpose already? And believe me, that topic came from me wanting to know what the F, what is my purpose? I had been in this space of, oh my gosh, get paid for who you are and make money with your purpose and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. What is it? And the first time I had a conversation with Rachel, though, I remember feeling excited and scared. So I was I didn't know exactly what it meant to be I didn't get the whole idea of what psychic really is. So I wasn't sure if she was reading my mind but I got the feeling she could see into me, and I wanted to know what she saw. And I was also afraid that maybe she was going to tell me my purpose actually wasn't that great. like I was so nervous, like that she was gonna see into my purpose. And I had this hope of like, my purpose is big and my purpose is awesome and it's gonna feel good. And that she was gonna tell me, Carrie, your purpose is, to be a dog poop picker upper or whatever. Like, but so I know you've answered this question a little bit already, but like I'm asking for everybody here. And that is, no, seriously, what's my freaking purpose already?
Okay, I love this. I love this so much. And man, what is your freaking purpose already? So this is my take. Everything I'm going to say is my take, so I'm not going to say that anymore. But just know that whatever resonates with you as the truth is your truth, right? There's a million ways to get to where you want to go. And so if what I say makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, then you can listen to my advice happily. But if it doesn't, go to somebody else, because there are a million teachers out there who might have your particular wording that works best for you. All right, disclaimer over. So it's my experience that your purpose is to bring as much of your higher dimensional energy down to earth as possible, because that is what feels amazing. When we talk about feeling like you're on purpose, that you're feeling your own energy, you're feeling yourself. You're literally feeling yourself. I mean, it sounds like you're turned on, right? That's the point. It's the point is to be turned on by life, by yourself, and by what you're doing. So imagine that feeling, right? Of like, you're so in it, you're so excited, you're so invested and blissed out to be in that spot right there doing that thing. That is when you know you are in your purpose, right? And what's happening is you are literally being your higher self. Your higher dimensional energies are involved in your earthly life at that moment. Like this amazing alchemy is happening between the dimension that we're in right now as earth people and like you as your God self. That's the big picture. The little picture, right? What we kind of need to know before we can master that is that you have an excitement meter inside of you. You, in any moment, can choose what option to take. So you, like right now I'm sitting here, I can continue talking to you guys. That's one of my options right now. I could go like faster, right? I could. So there's options, and every moment of options. Oh.
Is Rachel breaking up for anybody else?
Yes.
Where do I need to go back to?
So Rachel, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Maybe you're frozen on my screen. So maybe try hopping off and then hopping back on.
Let me see is that any better sound wise?
Oh yeah, I can hear you better now.
All right, I'll just finish this point and then I'll, when you guys are talking, I'll come back in. All right, so your excitement is what links you to that feeling, because excitement or curiosity or whatever is most exciting in the moment, it won't always be like that jump up and down, holy crap, I can't believe I get to do this feeling, but some option will be the most appealing to you. If you follow that in every moment, that is what creates that kind of continuous download of your higher dimensional energies. And that is what, like, you keep filling up your pool with that energy and it snowballs. And the circumstances in your life snowball so that you're basically filling up your life with things that make you excited. And so, again, from our daily moment-to-moment point of view, follow your excitement, you fill up your life with exciting things, and then after a bit, you notice, holy crap, I'm feeling on purpose all the time. It's not about knowing what is going to be at the end of that, because it's constantly going to change. I mean, I've been a teacher, I've been a writer, I've been a publisher. I mean, I've been so many different things, and it's all my purpose. It's how you're feeling in the moment that really determines everything.
Okay, so anybody get an aha with that? Because when I learned this from Rachel, like everything shifted for me. That weight, that anxiety lifted, because I was like, oh my God, so I don't have to, no one has to like point their finger at me or me point my finger at myself and say, Carrie, your purpose is to be an author. It gets to be so much bigger, so much fun, so much more playful, and like Rachel said, relaxed than that. Anybody else have an aha or have a question? Just unmute yourself. Dan, is that you? Maybe. I've got a barking dog. I see Jan and Joanne are unmuted. So Joanne, did you have a question?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I was trying to get my picture up there. It didn't work. Technology is not my thing.
Oh, well, if you go to the bottom of your screen and if you have a webcam, if you go to the bottom of your screen, there's a video icon. You click on that and your video should come up.
Okay, it doesn't really matter as long as I can hear. We can hear each other.
Yeah.
So how you feel in the moment determines everything is something I have to remind myself. It's like I got to walk around with that card in front of my face at all times because I know it, but I keep forgetting.
Well, don't you think that's all of us?
Yes, probably.
But I really liked what Rachel said. She said, following your excitement will then lead, right? The more you follow the excitement, the more you lead to like a continuous download. And the more you're in that state of a continuous download, right, then, which is just following your excitement, then the more you're living your purpose. I don't know if that's just a mind shift for me. That's why I was asking. But like, I think I'd heard variations of that for years and years. Like, just follow your excitement. Just do what makes you happy. But like, it didn't make sense until I connected it with like, when you're in your excitement, you're downloading more of, you know, quote unquote, your higher self, your true self, whatever that is. Like, you're actually being more of you. Does that hit?
It does for me because I actually experienced that when I was writing my own book. The thing that disturbed me is my downloads came just before my head hit the pillow every night. I would have to get up and write. It drove me crazy because that's how I wrote my book. The downloads just came and the book kind of wrote itself. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I think that happens to a lot of us, Jan. I mean, I know it happens to me. I get most of my amazing ideas in bed. And that's why during the day even, I go to bed and bring my notebook because we're actually changing our brain waves. And I know Roseanne can probably speak more to the brainwave thing. And another thing that is kind of different about me is I rarely will like kind of research and look up what technical names are and stuff because it doesn't really matter to me, but I know to some people it really helps them understand what's happening. So Roseanne, do you want to like mention which state of brainwaves we're actually going into in that moment?
Yeah, we start out just general channeling sort of in alpha. And so then when we move into closer to sleep and in sleep modes and in various stages of sleep modes, we'll be in theta and delta, which are like direct access to source, right? We're letting all our illusions go, and we are becoming what we really are, right? Without illusion. So in between there, we're integrating all this stuff that we went through during the day and stuff, and we'll move in and out of various brain waves. So, but as you were talking, Rachel, I got that we are actually moving into a state of living again in Theta, which this is really, really, really exciting. Because I teach like of an easy way to go into alpha, and in alpha you're much more open to downloading, and you can work all day like that. Imagine Theta, like you're wide open, and yeah, it's really exciting to do this. And I totally agree with everything you're saying, Rachel, about we are our purpose, you can't not do your purpose. You can just become more aware of doing it and how you're doing it, and following your excitement means that you're choosing to be excited by your purpose and your life, and following more of that will get you there. Will get you into that state of Theta, like living in that state, which is incredible.
I don't know whether you're hearing me. I can't hear you right now. I don't hear you for some reason, but you all seem to be blocked. But can you hear? You can hear me, you're saying. Okay, so with me, I've always had extra theta waves, and I was that way for whatever reason from childhood. And so I always dropped down into that with my dance and my art and things like that. And where it became challenging is how to keep relaxed when I was doing a lot of my work as a therapist or as a coach, and I started to understand better that if I was working with people and dropped into my zone, that I call it, that I could pick up a lot faster and a lot better what I needed to pick up. But has that to do with my purpose, Carrie? I think I've had lots of purposes as I went along. I believe in purpose leading us, but that it's not one, that we have many, and that it's okay to be unclear as we're evolving and transforming, because then we are more open to possibilities.
I think that's the whole point of this conversation, is why like Rachel and I and Roseanne, actually, I love having this conversation, because so many people, at least I meet in the business world, in the business coaching world, right? They want to create a purpose-driven business, right? They want to create, or they want to live fully in their purpose. And they're spending all this time searching for it. And I'm raising my hand because I was one of them, like spent so much time searching for my purpose. And actually the way Rachel describes it and the way you just described it, Joanne, about like your purpose, sort of being led by your purpose, kind of just following the breadcrumbs that your purpose leads along the path, like, or following your excitement. Like I've always called that living in your strengths, but I didn't know that that was purpose. Like I knew that living in my strengths was part of being in my purpose, but like I didn't fully understand that, like, no, if I just do the things that make me feel most fully alive, if I just choose to follow the most exciting option, the one that's like tugging me by the heart, then I'm in my purpose. Like it took me a really long time to, and I still say, like when I articulate it, when someone says what your purpose, right, I will say it's to encourage, uplift, and inspire, because those things make me feel amazing. But it's also not just that, right? Those are just the three that rattle off the top of my head. My purpose could be to go on a long run. My purpose could be to snuggle my kids. Like ultimately your purpose is just to be you. And I think once I figured that out, thank you, Rachel and Roseanne, so much freedom, right? So much good stuff followed that. So yeah.
I'd love to bring something up that I think is going to help a lot of people, because sometimes I feel guilty about making purpose unsexy, right? Because everyone's on the purpose journey and they want to be told what their purpose is. And as an intuitive psychic, I've been doing intuitive work for over 10 years now professionally, that's what everyone wants to know. They want to know about their relationships, and they want to know what their purpose is. And we made that up. Like, purpose isn't a thing, right? Like, when it really comes down to it, humans made up the idea of a purpose. We don't have a purpose. Like, let that sink in. We don't have one. There is no thing that we need to do or nothing we need to fulfill at all. Like, if you think about the concept of all that is, or God, right? Whatever you call it, however you see it, does that entity or being or ball of energy have, directives for us? No. Is it lacking anything? No. Does it care and love about, itself? Well, probably, because it's everything, right? So this idea of also like impact, like, well, we have to have a purpose so that we can do good in the world, right? A lot of us feel like we're here to uplift humanity and to save the planet, and that's all beautiful. But when we are channeling our higher dimensional energies, we're doing that anyway, because on a higher dimensional plane, we are all the same thing. And so we naturally care about everybody else in the planet because we're less separated. And so the idea of a purpose and of making an impact is a very human, three-dimensional thing. It was a beautiful construct when we needed it, to kind of help people take a step up in their lives and to help them realize that they could think about other people and that they could, do something good for society and for the planet. But we don't need that anymore. We're very much outgrowing that. And so the idea now of becoming more selfish, we all see that everywhere, right? Like self-love and self-care, and it's okay to be selfish. That's because we've stepped up in our evolution, and now we are giving this ability, we have this ability to channel more of our higher dimensionalness, and that's really the best outcome for us and for everybody else. So does that make sense?
I think the part that you said that kind of like the focus that we are enough and as we are without a specific reason to be makes sense. I think when I hear it, I also sense that it's easy for us to generalize to others and assume we're all the same. We are one, but I think we are different things may be resonating with different people. And at different stages of my life, different things have definitely resonated or not resonated with me too. So we evolve, so we do change, and yet we are complete in ourselves. So it's a bit of a contradictory, a bit of a paradox almost, what we're talking about.
Yeah, and actually paradoxes it's kind of a sign that we're graduating, because now we're able to hold paradoxes in our minds. Whereas before, we weren't. It had to be either or. But now it's both, right? So, in terms of dimensions, like, we were very third dimensional. We had a different set of rules that we were playing with on the planet. We've been in the fourth dimension for a while now, and the fourth dimension is very mental. It's very like this conversation right now, like, what are the dimensions? And it gave us the ability to hold these paradoxes and to think that we could be more than one thing, that it gave us the ability to see from the third dimensional view and from the fifth dimensional view. And that was really important. But now our rules of our planet are a fifth dimensional rule. And I don't know how far you guys want to go into this or not, so I'll leave it up to you, but we are not operating under the same physics that we were before. we don't have the same kind of emotional capacity that we had before. And so now, as a whole, but people are still choosing to play from the third dimensional reality, things are different. So we don't need to go lower, but a lot of us are still, I'd say most of us are still working out, letting go of our baggage so that we can fully live in the fifth dimensional realm. So.
Okay, it's Jan. I gotta pipe in. I feel like I am still living in the third dimension, probably more than the rest of you. I am attached to having purpose and meaning in my life, and I don't know how to let that go.
Well, I don't think you have to. So it sounds like, so being attached would be that you're attached to the identity of living in your purpose and having meaning. All right, so attachment is about identity. But if you're just knowing in your heart that you want to feel, like we described in the beginning, like you want to feel lit up and turned on by your life, you want to feel excited, that is fifth dimensional. That is core you, knowing what you want intuitively. And so there's a bit of a difference there. I don't think, Jan, that when we're all still living out third dimensional constructs in some way, but don't be attached to your, what you would consider like what's wrong with you, because mostly we're experiencing our flaws and our judgments and stuff as they're leaving us right now. And so don't try to pull them back as they're coming up and out. And the more you live in the moment, the more you choose your excitement, the more you're going to see all the old stuff that's not you leaving. And you can just let it go. You don't have to bring it back down and analyze it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was so helpful for me, like understanding. I think, I don't know, I don't understand, like I talk about this stuff like I know what, like I get all of it, but it's only because I glean, right? If you don't know this about me already, I'm a super big picture kind of person. Like I cannot be bothered with the details. So, that's why I love Roseanne. Like Roseanne's got all the details on the theta waves and the shift on the energy on the planet, and the shifts on the planet, like all this stuff. I'm like, I get it. Like it feels good. It feels right. But when I understood, oh, all of this stuff is coming up right now because like it's supposed to release. Like instead of trying, I mean, I spent a lot of time and effort and energy and money and all of it, like trying to analyze all my shit. And then once I finally just went, oh, it's just here for me to like look at it and dismiss it. Everything changed like so quickly. I mean, it was like I got that realization and then stuff floated to the surface and I was like, all right, see you later. And I even noticed it with my kids. Like someone will come in crying like, oh, and I'm like, what happened? And they tell me what happened. And I'm like, do you need anything? No. Like they just needed to like come to the surface and then go and they could be happy again. Anyways, that was like a life changer for me when I recognized all my shit wasn't here for me to figure out and make right. It was just here for me to notice and let go. And the minute I did that, living in my purpose became super easy.
Nice. So yeah, if you think about a bathtub that's full, right, that could represent our like third dimensional self, right? It's where we grew up and we absorbed all the ways that we should behave in society. We absorbed our parents and teachers' views, and if we were religious, like all of that kind of is packed into that tub, right? So all of our third dimensional identityness and all of that kind of yucky stuff, that's not really us. But imagine now getting into that tub and we have a big beach ball, and that beach ball represents our higher dimensional energy. If we bring that beach ball and we try to submerge it into that tub, it overflows. right? And we're gonna notice when a tub overflows because it's gonna make a mess and it's gonna splash and there's gonna be water on the floor. And so we're noticing that overflow. We're noticing that water leaving us. The more higher dimensional energy we bring in, the more it displaces all the stuff that's not us, all that old crap, right? And it's gonna make a show. But if we just let it go, you know, if you live in Arizona, you probably don't even need a towel. It'll just evaporate within 30 minutes. So you don't have to clean it up. But we're doing that. We're displacing all the old stuff that's not us. We're going to see it. We're probably going to notice it, but you can just let it go. And know that you're filling yourself up with a much higher caliber of energy that's really you. And so now you can trust your instincts more. You can relax more. You can know that you're going to make an impact. You're going to have meaning. It's because it's really you now. Like, oh my God, it's really you. Isn't that just so refreshing and amazing? Like my whole body tingles when I think about that. And that's the journey we're on, really. I mean, it's who are we? Who are we without that crap? Who are we without that stuff? Without being told who to be. That is so fascinating to me. I swear to God, I wake up so excited every single day knowing that I'm going to get to be more me. What does that look like in my business? What does that look like with my friends? What does that look like with my hair? Like, so cool.
I've been asking that my whole life. Who am I?
I've got another question if nobody else does. Has anybody got a question? Okay. This one, I'm not done letting go of, for sure. So when you're saying I'm still attached, here's where I'm still attached. Purpose and money. Like I'm like super happy being me and living my purpose. And I just had a conversation with someone that was super timely because I was telling her how like I've quote unquote given up on my business and business has never been better in the sense that I just like stopped marketing, stopped trying to get like I just stopped it all really and let them come to me and people are coming and I like don't have any of the proper things in place in terms of describing what I do or like positioning my offer or anything like that. Like I just sort of gave up on that. And yet I still really want that third dimensional idea, right? Or maybe it's the 12th dimensional, I don't know. But like having my purpose be attached to abundance, making it an abundance. I've got lots and lots of abundance, but what I would like to see is like bags of cash fall from the sky. So how do we have this conversation around purpose and money when it's without, and maybe this is just my brain trying to funnel it into business speak, but without saying you can get paid for being your purpose?
So I really love this conversation, and I've been having it for a long time. So my first program online that I ever created was the Soul-Centered Business Bootcamp, and the tagline is empower your purpose and get paid to be you, right? And so like total disclaimer at first though, I'm not a millionaire. I've never had $1 million. I've never had $100,000. And yet I feel like I always have enough money to do what I want to do. I travel the world all the time. I live in a great big house. I've had my dream car twice. I have, right now I actually have more money in my bank account than I had all year. And what I have found, so like absolute total honesty, I have found that when I focus on holding the vibration of, financial wealth or being rich, lately I've been using the word rich because I've really cleared a lot of that out, right? I've overflowed what wasn't really me about being rich. The more effortlessly it comes. So for me, it's about focusing on having that feeling now. So actually what I've been doing for the past week or so is what's in my bank account now, I turn into millions. So if I have $5,000, it's $5 million. If I have $10,000, it's $10 million. Yeah, or more than that. You know what I'm saying? So when I hold that vibration of rich, when I feel like I'm rich already, more comes effortlessly. And it's because we're magnetizing that vibration to us. I mean, all of us here, I'm sure we've studied the law of attraction from one teacher or another, one point at, another. And what do they say? Feel like you have it now, right? Because we are energetic beings, right? The more higher dimensional energy we bring down, it's energy, right? It's nothing more. And so we're orchestrating our life based on the vibrations that we're holding. And I know this countless times, the biggest months I've ever had, when clients have come out of the blue, people, honestly, a couple of weeks ago, somebody sent me $1,111 to my PayPal account, and he's never taken a class with me before. There were no strings attached. He just said, keep making him smile. I never told anyone to send me money to my PayPal account, but this is the stuff that happens when you focus on your energy and you let that overflow go. Because when you first start with, like Carrie, I mean, you'll probably like role play with me here. If you put the word rich in you and you feel like you have $10 million, something is going to pop up. Your head's going to be like, oh, well, I wish it was real, or I don't know what I had to do to get that, or you'll try to like reverse engineer it. Like, well, how did I get $10 million? That's the overflow. God, all that is, has all the fucking money in the world. Right? It's not a thing. It's not a thing to energy. It's not a thing to God. It's not a thing to all that is. Humans have made money very complicated, but it's not complicated, right? That's all crap that needs to get overflowed. So I find the more I focus on my energy, the more abundance comes to me without having a sales page, without having a sale, without talking to people. It just happens. And it's funny because it will happen in the most beneficial way for you. So there's two things. So the most beneficial way for you, right? Which means purposeful, exciting, turned on, awesome, engaged, fun, because you are allowing yourself to feel that way first. But also, there doesn't need to be a story anymore. You don't need to earn that money in a higher dimensional vibration. There doesn't need to be a launch and then people giving you money, and then it shows up in your bank account, and then you pay your affiliates, and then you pay your bills, and sometimes there's nothing left. There doesn't need to be a story when you're working higher dimensionally, because we're not operating with those third dimensional constructs anymore. And so somebody can send you money out of the blue, right? Somebody can just deposit money in your bank account, or money can just appear in your bank account and you have no idea where it came from. That is what's possible when you elevate yourself above all of that not you-ness of the third dimension.
I
That's
was
sounding
getting the
exciting.
feeling that Roseanne needed to talk. Go ahead, Roseanne. I was just getting the feeling that Roseanne had something to say.
Yeah, if you're looking at your purpose as one thing, and then you're tying money to it, then you're limiting how money can come to you, and that's kind of a tragedy, because if you're being you full out, which means you're living in your excitement, then you're wide open and money can come from anywhere. And just accept it, and really, seriously, like you said, God doesn't have a limit on money, right? He's got it all. But, so do we, right? Like, our governments print money, like there is no limit. It's not real. There is no lack. It's just a thing. It just is. It's not something that's scarce or that has to be taken from somebody else, or there's no reason why everybody in the world can't have everything they want, really.
Okay, so anybody else have a question? Because I'll keep coming up with them. So then I feel like this is what happens, why a lot of us are frustrated or have been frustrated, or like for me, I keep thinking I'm like, I've got it. I'm super enlightened, only to be like not enlightened. like I've got it. Everything's wonderful. I get it. I'm never gonna feel that again. To like, how did I feel yesterday? How did I get there? I forgot why I was asking the question. Hold on, it'll come.
Frustration.
Yeah, but it was before that. Well, anyways, I guess what I'm getting at is a lot of people who are watching this might be like, what the heck are you guys talking about with third dimension and fifth dimension? And like, but, oh, here's my question. So there's a lot of people who I admire, I love, and trust who will say things to me like, well, you're not charging for your value, or that sort of thing. And I've got no problem, or maybe it's still stuck in my brain. Maybe it's something, I love the idea of when I'm letting stuff go. Rachel's using the bathtub overflowing, which I love, but I like the idea of, you know, Harry Potter, when they take the thoughts out of their head and they put them somewhere, they put them in the pensive, they just put their wand to the head. Oh, okay. So they, when they have something that they want to remember or something that they want to look at from a different perspective, they put their wand to their head and they pull the thought out of their head and they put it into this other thing. It's called a pensive, and it holds like memories and stuff. But that's what I love thinking about. Like when I've got something that is, I'm like struggling with in my head, like if I could just pull it out and then put it over here where we could see it from a different perspective. So what I'm wondering is,
reminds me of intuitive art, by the way.
right? Which anybody who wants to try a free intuitive art class, you could go to carrieroldan.com/intuitive art. But yes, Rachel, that's exactly what it is. It's like when, and that's when I go to intuitive art, is when I'm like, wait, I think I get it, but maybe I'm fourth dimensional, right? I'm like trying to make sense of 3D stuff that wants to go 5D. Anyways, what I'm getting at is like, okay, why do I still struggle to trust that? Is it just because I need to fully pull it out of my head? Does that make sense? Like I want to.
Well, there's a couple things happening. So when we have a big realization, an aha, a download, and we get confused afterwards, it's because we're integrating it. It's because it's actually disrupting what's already in our brains. And so our system kind of seems to shut down. Maybe we need to take a nap. Maybe we need to sleep all day. We can't talk to people. We can't form sentences. There's stuff happening in there. It's like, you know, if you have a Mac, that little wheel is turning, right? You can't do anything on a computer as much as you might try. Our little wheel is turning. It's loading. It's changing us. And so we got to be really gentle with ourselves, always. Love and trust what's happening is for our highest good. And then ask yourself in the moment, okay, what do I need in order to support myself right now? Maybe it's a nap, maybe it's a meal, maybe it's poetry, you know, maybe it's writing or journaling or running. Really care for yourself like you're the most important thing in the whole entire world, right? Isn't that what God would do, or all that is would do? Like, ask yourself, what would God do right now? You know, and I'm not even a huge fan of that word because of the connotations of it, but I'm, you know, everybody here, use your own word that works for you. Who in your mind is the pinnacle of self-love, care, no limitations, abundance, right? Act like that. Treat yourself like that, because that's really going to help you move through all of this download, confusion, integration, upgrade, and with the absolute most ease. Because ease, we haven't even talked about ease, but that's what this is all about. Fifth dimension, higher dimensional energies, intuition, it's all ease. It's all relax. It's all, you got it, right? Like, we're here, we got it. Earth is hard, but it doesn't have to be anymore. We don't have to struggle. We don't have to engage with anything that's heavy. And now this is a little controversial, but if it's heavy, it's not yours. If it's heavy, if it feels heavy, it's not yours. Give it back. Push it away. It's not yours. You don't have to engage with anything heavy. Okay?
Did that just hit everybody as as hard as it hit me? Like that. I
Yeah.
feel it, Rachel, but wow. If it's heavy, it's not mine. It's just so funny. I find this conversation so interesting. And I know a lot of you guys are coaches as well, or, you know, intuitive healers, all of it. Like that it's so easy to be on the other side, right? And when I'm sitting with a client, it's very easy for me to know, oh, that doesn't belong to you. Oh, that's not. But when it's my own self, right? And I take so much responsibility for everything. Like I'm probably just an overly responsible human. I really enjoyed that idea that if it's heavy, it's not mine. I want to talk about purpose in relationships, but I want to ask anybody else what you've got, if you've got questions or insight or wisdom for us.
You kind of keep asking my questions, Carrie, so run with it.
Yes. That must be because I'm in my purpose right now, right?
Yeah.
Having conversations that matter. All right. Well, my question is about about the heaviness in relationships. So whether it's a relationship we think is important in our life, like, you know, it's probably, okay, let's just say this. If I'm in a relationship with someone who is, you know, another parent that I talk to in the schoolyard, right? And they just unload their crap on me. That's going to be easier for me to let go of than, say, if my husband came home and unloaded his crap on me. Now, I probably would still be triggered by both of them and process, although the more I've moved into leaning into fifth dimensional living, the less I care about both of them. But I guess that is my question, is when we've chosen that a relationship is important, that a relationship matters, right? With our parents, our kids, our spouses, our whoever we deem important. How do we live? How do we care but not care?
Well, it's interesting how you use the word important, because important is a judgment. And so already you're kind of like, sorry, it's so weird to have both earbuds in. And I have construction outside, which is why I switched. But so important is like an external structure that you're putting on top of that. And so already, doesn't important feel heavy? Everyone, put important in your bodies.
Mm.
I don't like important. I don't know about you, but it doesn't feel good to me. So, but I understand what you're saying. Obviously, you would imagine those relationships to be important. But if you were just left to your own devices to, in the moment, put energy on the ones that you're feeling inspired to put energy on, don't you think that the important ones would naturally get served? Yeah. Okay. So she's kind of nodding her head.
Well, sometimes. So maybe there's important, I think for me, there's this issue of obligation. So like it's easy for me. I mean, think about if a parent unloaded on me in the playground, right? It's so much easier for me to be detached and actually extend compassion to that person. Like, whoa, what is going on? Are you okay? Like, you know what I mean? Take a different approach, or just send them love and be like, we've all had days like that, you know? But if it's someone who I'm like, my children want dinner and I don't want to feed them, or my, like, other people who have needs that seem to be connected to mine. And I do want to, I don't know. I forgot what you said.
Yeah, and it's hard to speak hypothetically because we're not actually in that moment in order to respond. And so what I'll say is that relationships are going to change. When you start being authentic, relationships are going to change. And it may not change for the worse. It may change for the better. I am in a very interesting relationship change right now. I have a partner of 6 years, somebody I've actually been friends with for 21 years. And we're working this out right now. We're seeing how are we inspired to be together. And actually, the more I shift everything, the more he steps up and like is on board. And we actually don't know if we're going to be together from each day to the next, because we're both acting off of our own inspiration. But yet we're still, you know, we went on vacation last week. We are selling our house right now. And I told him I want to live on the East Coast and he wants to live on the West Coast. And we're actually thinking about seeing how we both feel about that. Like, in the moment, when you're honest, you disarm other people's drama. So, great example. My boyfriend knows that I talk about him all the time. I've gotten his permission, so it's all good. But the other day, we were both on the couch watching TV, something we do very often every day. We'll watch a show or two. But he was drinking gin, and I don't drink, and I don't really like being around drunk people. He was getting a little tipsy, and when he gets a little tipsy, he gets kind of mean. We were watching a competition dance show, and he just started getting a little mean, and so I just left. I was like, I'm going to go work on my website because that's what I wanted to do, right? I didn't have to engage in what he was talking about. I didn't have to like comfort him or console him or just sit there, even though I didn't want to feel like sitting there. I just got up. And when you're in a situation where you are bringing your whole self, right? You're not leaving yourself aside, which is what most of us do with our mates. When you bring your whole self to a situation, your mate comes home and wants to dump about the day, you don't engage. You're like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Or what can I do for you? Or you rub their shoulders, or something naturally will come out that isn't like flippant, right? Or demeaning to them, but you will be able to respond in your full capacity being yourself. That will, you know, probably disengage their program, because what they're operating on is just an unconscious program. So it's kind of hard to describe when we're not actually in a moment. But try bringing your whole self to the situation instead of reverting to an old program that you used to run.
Go for it, Roseanne.
Something that I found too was just like when Carrie, you were talking at the beginning about when a child comes running in and, you know, they just want to tell you what happened. And then you just say, is there something you need from me? That's the same thing. You do that with your husband too, your whoever, you know, and I do it too. Like my brothers and I, we have this sort of deal. If we just need to vent, we just phone each other and say, I'm just going to vent. Don't say anything. And we do. And then it's done. But I had that experience too, like what Rachel is talking about. And just giving, if you try to fix people, you take their power from them. And so if you just listen and say, what do you need? You give them their power back. It's their power to fix their own life, to do what they need to do, to be in their own excitement, rather than trying to tiptoe around you, which is what they're really doing. Right? It's a weird thing, but it's worth trying it. It's worth doing.
Okay, you guys, I just had two things. There were two like really brilliant statements, so I want to give them back. Rachel, you said when you're honest in the moment, you disarm other people's drama. Like that was a huge one for me, because I think so many of us, somebody else's drama is going on and we're like tiptoe around the drama only to increase the drama. And so that just like, if I could just be honest in the moment. And I actually had a beautiful example of that from my own life this morning. Like I was getting out the door and my husband wanted to have a conversation about something that I was like, I can't have this conversation right now. And I was just like, what I thought would be very rude or perceived as rude, I just said, Jim, I just don't want to have this conversation right now. We'll talk about it later, and left. And he was like, okay. Like, it was like not, I was so surprised. And then the other one, Roseanne said, if you try and fix people, you take their power from them. And that just made me think of every male, female, like, why your husband's a jerk situation is like, because he tried to fix me instead of just let me vent, right? So I, amen to that. Here's my aha from the last few minutes of conversation, and then I would love to know what anybody else has, and then we should wrap up. Is it's gone. How did that happen? It like it came right out of my head. Is that we're in relationship with everything, right? We're in relationship with money. We're in relationship with our business. We're in relationship with that perceived external purpose that we're searching for. We're in relationship with each other, right? We're in relationship, we're interacting with the energy of everything all the time. And we don't have to overcomplicate it, because our purpose is just like, I didn't realize when I don't know if you guys watched the video where I was promoting this conversation, but when I talked about Rachel, I said I love that she's constantly channeling like her highest self, right? Like, I have a picture of Rachel walking down the street and like sort of God pouring into her. And I know that's how I want to be. And I feel like what I look like is where I see, and I know, Rachel, you're not perfect and it's not like this all the time, right? But that's what we want. But I see my stream as much more like a drip. It's like a little bit of here, a little bit of that. Sometimes it's like a deluge, right? But it's not like always a constant. Anyways, but that's all living your purpose is, and everybody I'm sure has their own language, right? But it's being connected to that. So whether that you call that being one with God, being close to God, channeling your higher self, like all of it is just being more of, I would say, who I really want to be, like that truest, purest. I think when I described it, I said, I was imagining unzipping my Carrie suit, like unzipping my personality and stepping out as the being of light. All right, that's it. Anybody got something on that?
I think it's very beautiful to esteem or aspire to be unzipped. I think there are times when we do need to zip into our suit again and then out again. Perhaps, suspend any judgment around that too, because I think we're here the way we are for the right reasons.
Yeah, I think just to make that a little bit finer, I think, Carrie, I love you to death, but yeah, we're all perfect right now. Like, there's no getting anywhere, right? I mean, of course, we may progress and channel more of that energy or ourselves, but even the people who don't and even know what we're talking about are also really perfect. And I know that's what you're saying, but I just wanted to add that because Joanne brought it up too. It's like we're always our God selves, no matter how we're appearing or what we're playing in. And so there's no ever not being perfect.
I think too, we go through life in, sometimes we get to express it to other people. I was talking to a lady yesterday, I hadn't seen her in 6 years, and, I could share in an hour and a half, and she could share in an hour and a half, how our themes are the same, but the way we're stepping into them has evolved. And it's like that whole appreciation of every day of life, like, thank you for this chance to hang out with you guys today. That in itself is purpose.
Aw, thank you for that.
Thank
Well,
you,
guys.
Jan. So nice, Joanne. So nice to meet you.
Same here. I've seen you before, but we haven't talked. Yeah.
And this is a group of wise, open-hearted, amazing women. And I feel grateful. I feel totally on purpose holding this space with you guys and having these conversations. It feels really, really good to just talk openly without an agenda, right? About stuff that really matters and to get perspective. Go for it, Jan or Joanne.
So if that feels so good, Carrie, perhaps that tells you something.
Perhaps it does. Yeah. Thanks, ladies. So thank you, Rachel, Roseanne. Okay, it's my natural inclination to be like, everybody needs to know what everybody else does and how you can get a hold of each other. So since you've never met, and do you just want to give everybody your websites or where they can find you, or if you've got how they can get a hold of you? Everybody here, we'll start with Rachel.
Yeah, I'd love to. So you can find me a couple places. Intuitiveart.com is where you can learn about my modality for talking to your higher self in an easy, fun, colorful way. But you can also find me at Sephiroth.com, which is where I talk more about purpose and business and money and all that. It's SEPHYRUS.com.
All right, how about you, Roseanne?
Hi, yeah, I'm the No BS Psychic for Business, and my website is revealyourlife.com. And there's a cool freebie there right now, 10 ways to hack time.
And it is a cool freebie. And thank you, Roseanne. And Joanne, where can everybody get a hold of you?
That's a hard question. You can best reach me by email. I have websites. I have 3-4 websites, but if you want to talk with me, it's JOANNHM for Hammond Myers at gmail.com. So it's JoanneHM@gmail.com. And what I'm about is flow, but I'm also about luck. I believe that they kind of go together. And I'm a long time, over 40 years, therapist to psychologist, art therapist, dance therapist, many other kind of educational things, who got into coaching about 5-6 years ago and did all the law of attraction things. And then really what changed my life then was that I wanted to get into more philanthropy. And, that's why I say I think there's multiple purposes. So that's about me.
Oh my gosh, Jan, I didn't know about the luck thing, but when you said I'm into luck, like everything inside me lit up. So now I'm excited to learn more about that.
Yeah, I've got some programs coming out about creating your own luck.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Good.
Okay,
Thank you.
Jan Moore, we can't see your face, but tell us who you are and how we can get a hold of you.
I am Jan, and I help women in midlife reinvent their life and work through exploring their creativity while they travel. And my website is workoonyourownterms.com.
I love the travel aspect. I'm sure it took you that was beautifully stated. And the while you travel part of what you just said, like, hit me. So yay. All right, ladies, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for having the conversation with us. Thank you for those of you who are watching on replay. I hope you got a ton of value. I hope you came away with ahas. If you want to get a hold of me, I'm Carrie at carrieroldan.com. You can go to carrieroldan.com, but right now it might confuse you a little bit because as I'm leaning more into my purpose, probably like Joanne, right? I'm noticing that my website needs to yet again take a different direction. And that's okay. one of these days, right, the most exciting choice for me is going to be to redo my website. But also, if you haven't taken Rachel's intuitive art class, you can get that. Oh, I think she said intuitiveart.com, but my affiliate link is carrieroldan.com/intuitive art. So, all right, you guys, thanks for the conversation. I just adore all of you. I'm so glad that you took the time to took the time out of your day to have this conversation with us. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.